John, you know, you talk about Larry Donald wanting to get back into the picture. There are some benchmarks here that he needs to beat vis-a-vis Will Hinton. Shannon Briggs, for instance, stopped Hinton in 1 round. Jimmy Thunder stopped him in 7. At the same time, Hinton, as we mentioned in our open tonight, fought a draw with undefeated Ahmad Abdin going the full 10. He beat Derek Roddy. So Larry Donald has to do some impressive things here, and at the same time shake off a lot of rust, having only fought, as we mentioned also, that's 6 rounds in 18 months.
Well, the inactivity is really what's hurt Larry, and but I got to believe that Jenks Morton got him ready in the gym with good gym work to shake off that ring rust. But again, working in the gym is not like being in a fight. We all know that. It's a little bit different on fight night.
Will Hinton, not a bad distance runner. He's been the full 10 twice in his career. Seems to get stronger, though, at the end of fights. And we're going to go up now for our official introduction from Dan Burridge. Okay, Danny, take it away.
Cedric Kushner and Corona Extra present the main event. Scheduled for 10 rounds. The heavyweight battle judged by Gordy Volkman, Gary Merritt, and David Hess. The referee, Mr. Gino Rodriguez. Fighting out of the blue corner in the white trunks with blue trim, weighing 231 pounds. From Aurora, Colorado, Mr. William Hinton. And fighting out of the red corner, a former 1992 U.S. Olympic team member, currently ranked 7th in the world by the WBC. He weighs 228 pounds. He is 17-1-1 from Cincinnati, Ohio, Larry the Legend Donald.
Protect your goal all time. Good luck.
Tom Quinn in the corner, Will Hinton, Jenks Morton, Larry Donald. See our referee, Gino Rodriguez, getting ready to wave the fighters in. There's the bell for the first round, scheduled for 10.
You know, as an amateur, Larry Donald was known for his jabbing and his moving. In fact, you see the little bumblebee on his trunks. That's in honor of everybody's all-time favorite heavyweight, I guess, Muhammad Ali. Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. And Donald almost kind of overdid it with the Ali routine. He would memorize his poetry and try to fight just like him. Larry's learning to set down on his punches now better, and not just move for movement's sake.
And if there's any fight in his history that typified that style, it was probably his big win over Jeremy Williams back in March of '94. Can you believe that's already been more than 2 years?
As we said earlier in the telecast, Larry's only fought 6 rounds since losing a lackluster decision to Riddick Bowe a year and a half ago. That was precipitated by a press conference altercation when Bowe smacked Larry Donald and really kind of took the fight out of him.
Yeah, a lot of people criticized Larry for not fighting back at the press conference after Bowe did that. Passively kind of dealt with it and more or less talked about, gee, maybe I'm going to sue him. Well, these are fighters. That's not what's supposed to take place.
And frankly, there have been question marks about Larry Donald's resolve and how bad he wants it. So we're going to find out here in the next year. He says he's been disappointed in his own progress over his 3-4 years in the pros, and at this year he really wants to make his mark known. He figures he can get a title shot within a year. We'll have to wait and see.
A little more than halfway gone in round number 1, and I got to tell you, I'm impressed right now by the aggressiveness of Hinton. Landed a good right a little earlier in the round on Larry Donald.
Yeah, but he's standing right there, and he got hit with a punch right on in the front of the forehead there that seemed to actually stun him and momentarily freeze him in his tracks.
And deserved to get hit with that. He stood there, and he allowed Larry Donald to repeat the same combination twice instead of moving out of there.
He's right in punching range, and you got to punch your way in. He's merely bending.
Personally, I think he was surprised by the combination. I think he was expecting a jab, and like I said, he sort of froze. The headlights were on him, and he stayed there and got hit with the same combination a second time.
Maybe he was having a flashback to their first meeting back in 1993 when Hinton was stopped on his feet by Larry Donald in 4 rounds. Will says that he was really too green to be fighting somebody like Larry Donald with a lot of amateur experience. Will Hinton again got a late start in his boxing career.
And that was only the 6th pro fight for Will Hinton, and consequently his first loss at the time. We come to the end of round number 1. We're scheduled for 10. This is Heavyweight Explosion on the Cedric Kushner Sports Network.
Round 1.
Well, Larry Donald put his punches together in that first round very well, particularly when Will Hinton begins charging in a very awkward fashion.
Tenacious piece.
We take a look at action from round number 1, and I was a little curious, John, as you talk about Hinton charging in very aggressive in the first 60 seconds. It looked like he was going to start taking the fight to Larry. Larry started to really pick up on the style of Hinton. And here's that combination. And watch, that stayed there and allowed Larry Donald to repeat that combination too, and actually a 3rd time.
You know, again, aggressiveness is good, but the key is effective aggressiveness, and that's not what Will Hinton had in the first round.
Set for round 2.
Second round, we're scheduled for 10. That's Larry Donald. He's in the shorts that say Larry Donald. The white and the black ones. Will Hinton, he's in the white and blue. Good first round for Larry Donald. I would say if I had to judge it on a rust basis, Johnny looked rusty for about 60 seconds, then really started to open up and felt comfortable in there. Looked like he started to have some fun.
Now here's something interesting. You see Will Hinton really attacking Larry Donald's body here to start off the second round. But when Will's inside right there, he's got to be punching. He's a target. He's got his gloves up in front of his face, but he's getting hit with that jab. I mean, Larry Donald has an excellent jab. You cannot allow him to stand outside there and peck away at you.
And Will Hinton, not known for his punching power. He's only got 7 knockouts in his 15 wins compared to 13 KOs and 17 wins for Donald.
Larry also carrying his left very low. If there's somehow that Will could time it to come over with the right hand, he's wide open for a right hand, Arnie.
And his right's fairly low as well, and Hinton tried to come over the top, sort of a la Mike Tyson, coming out of that peekaboo, trying to throw the left hook. Couldn't quite get up there. He's eating uppercuts on the inside, and those combinations of breaking through the gloves. Well, of Will Hinton. Donald, good uppercut there, followed by a right over the top.
You see Donald
hook, and Donald really opening up now. And we have still halfway gone in round number 2. Hinton follows with a body attack of his own, and he's got Larry backing up from the body attack.
Well, Hinton's an awkward guy to fight. I mean, he's kind of almost clumsy in the way he attacks you. You're not sure where the punches are going to be coming from or when they're going to be coming. Kind of a difficult style for Larry Donald to solve, particularly after he's had a long layoff. And Hinton's doing a smart thing. He's going to the body in an effort to try to slow down Larry Donald's jabs.
Let me ask you a question. With this kind of rust on Donald and a layoff of 8 months and only 6 rounds in a year and a half, how wise is it for him to go the full 10? How tough would that struggle be after round 6, let's say?
Well, I think Larry Donald wants to get Will Hinton out of there as soon as he can. I don't think there's any pretense about that. He's not looking to take this any longer than he has to. But the fact that if he gets a few rounds under his belt, there's nothing wrong with that either. I mean, he's looking to fight in June again, possibly a Cedric Kushner promoted heavyweight, Jorge Valdez, or even Danell Nicholson, who he's familiar with from his amateur days, even though Nicholson, I don't think they ever fought directly.
Yeah,
but
we heard on CBS June 2nd, right. Seeing him there. I'll tell you this, though, as we end round number 2, even though he started to open up and hurt Will Hinton, and Hinton came back with those body shots, stopped, slowed him down, dead in his tracks as we come to the end of round number 2.
You're on 3, ring girl Haley.
Take a look here at action from round number 2. You see Hinton trying to work that body. It's been his most successful attack thus far in the fight. But there was that great right uppercut that started probably a barrage of 8 unanswered punches.
Larry putting together his punches pretty well. They're a little bit wide, though. A little wide.
Well, that wideness is what left him open for that counter body attack, which stopped him dead in his tracks there. And we take a look at the tail of tape of this fight. Donald's got a 2-inch height advantage and a 2-inch reach advantage. Hinton a year older. And Hinton's actually got 5 pounds in weight over for Donald for this fight. Donald coming in at 226. Will Hinton 231 as we start round number 3. Scheduled 10-rounder. Not a bad second round for Donald. Looking crisp at certain times, John, but as we mentioned, interesting to see the body attack stop. Hinton lands his first jab in the fight.
I tell you what, Larry Donald can get away with maybe dropping his left hand the way he's doing against Will Hinton. But as Larry Donald moves up the heavyweight ladder and fights better and better competition each time, he's going to have to tighten up his defense a little bit. He's got too much skill to be getting hit with some of the sloppy stuff he gets hit with.
As you mentioned also, he's setting down on his punches, almost totally gone as the lateral motion.
James Morton's giving him that confidence that he could stay there and punch and know when to parry and block and come back with his own shots. And I think that's done Larry a wonder. There was that good short right uppercut landing. I like when Larry punches in combination. He can put 4 or 5 shots together.
Hinton's now working on the inside when he gets in. He's managing to muscle his way in, and when nothing's happening when he gets inside. Well, I'm surprised he's not continuing to work the body.
The jab is eating him up alive, and he's really unable to get inside the way he wants to because he can't get past that pull from Larry Donald.
Larry Donald's jab is really starting to look good, isn't it?
Yep. That's his primary weapon. He sets up everything off that jab. A lot of people question Donald's punching power, including Will Hinton.
Hinton waves him back in, but I gotta tell you, that was a good right off the jab. Larry Donald's jab, looking like the jab that kept Jeremy Williams at bay for 12 rounds.
Hinton, a very tough customer. I mean, he just keeps coming forward. You can see the look on his face, like, I'm not going anywhere, buddy.
And again, there's some benchmarks here, though, John. Even though, despite the layoff of Larry Donald, Hinton's been the distance without Dean. He beat Roddy, but he also got stopped by Briggs in 1, Jimmy Thunder in 7.
Well, every time that Will has stepped up in class, he's really been unable to answer the bell. He's been in with guys that are a cut above him, and with his little boxing experience, he's still learning how to fight.
Hinton's been stopped 4 times in his career, once by the same Larry Donald, other 3 by Zelko Marovic, European champion, Shannon Briggs in 1, and most recently, and in his last fight, by Jimmy Thunder. Got stopped in 7 by Thunder back in February.
You see Will actually getting a little bit desperate there, lunging with the left hook, leaving himself wide open. Larry couldn't make him pay for the miss. Say we have a shutout here, so
unofficially in my card as well. Larry Donald, though, really starting to look sharp in round number 3. Looking like the Larry Donald of old. That jab's going like a piston. He's getting a good right hand off it as we take a look at action from round number 3.
And Hinton likes to throw that wild overhand right. And you see him do it often.
But Larry smothered it there, and you're going to take a look at a good uppercut here now.
A little too far outside. He could have stepped inside there a little bit.
And it's something he's got to be careful of. You don't want to throw an uppercut from that far out. Ask Buster Douglas from the Evander Holyfield fight. Again, it's the 5-point must system tonight. No standing 8. No 3 knockdown rule, as we learned earlier this evening. You can be saved by the bell only in the last round. And we're going to go to the scorecards after 3 rounds if there's any sort of a unintentional or intentional butt problem. But here we are, round number 4. Scheduled for 10. No knockdowns thus far in the fight. That's Larry Donald. He's in the white shorts with the black stripe. Will Hinton, he's in the white with the blue stripe. I'm Arnie Tokyo Roosevelt along with John Saraceno. Coming to you today from the Mark in Moline, Illinois.
Talk about one occupation, Arnie, you don't want to have to learn on the job. It is professional boxing. And that's exactly what Will Hinton is doing. He is learning as he goes along. And it's not an easy experience.
No, and that's sort of been the rap on his record. Came in 15, 6-1, 7 KOs. And again, in spite of that, you got to applaud the fact that this guy could get a draw against Ahmad Abdi.
He's a tough guy. I mean, he comes to fight, he tries.
29 years of age, turned 30 in December.
I mean, he's so confident. He told me today that he said, I'm not going to stop boxing until I can get me some kind of a title belt. That he's just not doing this for the fun of it. He's very serious about it.
And on the right night in a USBA or an IBF Intercontinental, that might very well happen to him. But right now, Larry Donald's giving him a boxing lesson, another good right uppercut. And I got to tell you, Donald's uppercut, tell me if I don't remember that being in his arsenal.
No,
maybe that's a new punch that I haven't seen him using. He's using it beautifully tonight.
That's something he's worked on in the gym with Jenks Morton.
And of course, in his old style, where he had a lot more dancing and lateral motion, uppercuts, a very tough punch to throw. Sitting down, fighting in close, using it. Nice straight right from Hinton. Nice low blow by Will Hinton.
Will's talking, little trash in there. Larry's a pretty good talker himself. Maybe he'll spout out some poetry here.
Donald's been 10 or more 3 times. Will Hinton's been 10 twice. About 45 seconds to go now in round number 4. Pace slowing down a little bit, John.
Well, Hinton's doing a lot of holding and grabbing here and punching off the break. He's a little borderline tactics, but he's getting away with it. And there you see him trying to jab with Larry Donald. He landed 2. And 2 more jabs backing Larry Donald into the ropes. I think Larry's a little shocked there.
I think Larry's a little tired.
Well, Larry's not using his jab, but he's allowing this guy just to come in and pot shot him, which is not a very smart thing. And Jenks Morton just shaking his head in the corner, Arnie, not liking what he sees right now from Larry Donald.
We come to the end of round number 4. This is scheduled 10 rounds.
Looking beautiful.
You see Will Hinton going back to his corner, taking a breather.
Well, his trainer, Tom Quinn's telling him you're looking
The same stuff.
I got to
This
tell
guy's
you,
getting tired as hell. He doesn't like those fine shots.
that round either.
Yeah, he
keep
picked
it
up
up,
the pace
okay?
nicely, and there you see Larry Donald and Jenks Morton poking his head.
I mean, Larry Donald abandoned what made him look so good in the 3rd round, which was the jab. He landed the uppercut beautifully in the first 90 seconds of the round, but then nothing.
Well, I think you're right, Arnie. He was taking a breather there, and he got caught with that double jab there in the right hand, kind of a glancing blow, but you could see Larry there gasping for breath. You're exactly right.
And, you know, we'll see, they're walking in close here, and then they start talking to each other, and, you know, Hinton's probably saying, gee, you know, Ahmad Abdi hit me harder than that. We come out for round number 5. We were discussing between rounds whether Larry Donald actually took that round off, or the second half of that round off, or is he tired?
Now, I think you're going to see Larry come out and be much more aggressive in this round.
His mouth is open. Breathing with his mouth open.
You know, at one point, Don King, according to Larry's managers, wanted him to fight with like 17 days notice. And I guess Larry had ballooned to 275 pounds. And King later told his managers that he thought Larry was a coward because he wouldn't take a fight against Tony Tucker on 17 days notice, which I think is a very smart move by Bob Middleman and Steve Nelson, his managers.
That is a true story. I know that offer was made.
But you're right, Larry, who has been off, he hasn't fought since last September, showing that he's a little bit gassed perhaps, and you know, there comes a point in the fight where you got to get over that hump physically to catch your second win to go into the second portion of the fight. We'll see if Larry Donald is able to do that here tonight.
To paraphrase Marty Feldman, what hump? So we got a little more than a minute gone by in round number 5.
We trust everybody saw that movie.
Young Frankenstein. And Will Hinton trying his own uppercut right now. And a lot of the zing off of Larry Donald. It had a look like the old Larry Donald in the 3rd round.
Well, he's not picking up the pace here like I thought he would. I figured Jenks Morton chewed on his eardrums enough in between rounds, but Jenks clapping in the corner, telling Larry to come on, bring it to him.
And look where Larry's keeping his left. He's keeping his left down by his knees, and Hinton taking advantage, come over the top with the right.
Now Larry looks, even though his weight doesn't look bad for a guy his height, 6'4", looks a little bit soft. Just a little bit soft around the fringes.
Yeah, sometimes the poundage, as they say, muscle weighs more than fat. And sometimes he could be down in weight but soft in the middle. Right now, not using that jab that was so effective in the early rounds.
And also the weights we showed earlier, Larry told me he thought the scales were a little bit off, and I think they had him weighing in at what, 226? He thought he weighed more like about 232. So
that's interesting.
A little bit heavier than earlier indicated.
And Will Hinton really taking the fight to him this round. Landed a couple of good combinations in there. Referee Gino Rodriguez separates the fighters.
Larry Donald is tired. There's no doubt about that. I mean, his mouth is hanging wide open. He's not using that jab as he was earlier in the fight to dominate.
And if he was in right now, I got to tell you, with a heavy body puncher,
he'd be in a lot of trouble.
Big time trouble. As we're coming through the end of round number 5, this is scheduled for 10, and Will Hinton looking over and smiling at Bob Middleman, Donald's manager.
I tell you, if Will Hinton could take it to the body here, Larry Donald might be in a little bit of trouble. But the problem is he's got to work his way on the inside by punching his way in, not walking in. There was a right hand by Hinton, and that's a slip.
And I got to tell you, talking about slips, this round ran about 30 seconds longer than it was supposed to.
That was a clear slip as both fighters tangled their feet together. Will Hinton laughing at Larry Donald as he laid on his back and also looked over at Bob Middleman, Larry Donald's co-manager.
Well, we take a look, though. Here's the slip at the end of the round.
There's that right hand. He's throwing his right hands off balance.
And both fighters tangle their feet and drop down. I got to tell you, though, good round for Will Hinton. John, unofficially, first round I've given to Hinton in the fight.
And more importantly, not a good round and not a good sign for Larry Donald, a guy who's trying to work his way back into contention to try to get a title shot within the next 12 months. Boy, I wish we could hear what Jenks Morton right now was saying in Larry Donald's corner. There's Will Hinton.
Along with Tom Quinn. Man who runs boxing up in Denver. Out comes Larry Donald. Round number 6. That's Larry Donald in the white shorts with the black stripe. Will Hinton in the blue striped shorts. And I got to tell you,
Will is an awkward kind of fight. I mean, look at him. He comes from like 6 different. It's like the Tasmanian devil. You don't know which way he's going to spin towards you.
But Larry Donald started fast there for about 6 seconds.
Yeah,
well, Hinton took control back of the fight.
Well, Larry tried to drop the 2 right hands on him right off the bat as he charged across the ring.
And I think Gino Rodriguez is going to have his work cut out for him in the second half of this fight. These guys are going to be laying all over each other. Larry Donald not able to snap that jab as he did in round number 3.
Arnie, also what he's doing is Larry is not giving him enough angles. He's standing right in front of Will Hinton. He's so disrespectful of the guy he's got in front of him. He's not really giving them that angle and then punching.
But John, let me ask you another question. We talked about how James Morton has gotten Larry to sit down, but did he make a mistake possibly by doing that? He's, as you say, he's standing right in front of Hinton. Gone is that lateral motion that we used to see from Larry. That circling around the ring, sticking that jab out there, fighting a lot more flat-footed, and not able to keep his hands up for the full 3 minutes of the round.
Well, no question he's transformed his style, but let's face it, he had to. That is not going to work in a professional game. Nobody wants to watch a heavyweight, unless it's Muhammad Ali coming back, fight that kind of a fight anymore. But I think what it is I just think it's utter disdain by Larry Donald for Will Hinton. The guy's already stopped 1 time in 4 rounds. He's just saying, I'm going to stand here in front of you. I'm going to jab when I want to. And occasionally I'll drop in the right hand. You're not really going to hit me and hurt me.
Well, he's letting Will Hinton back into this fight. With all due respect to Larry Donald, again, it's after an 8-month layoff, only 6 rounds in 18 months, as we mentioned earlier in the broadcast. But right now, breathing very heavy, Hinton back in this fight. Been no knockdowns thus far.
I mean, Donald is clearly pacing himself. There's no doubt about it.
Well, we're scheduled for 10. With a minute to go here in round number 6.
Jenks Morton, if you could look up the word disgust in the dictionary, Jenks Morton's face is there right now.
And as you mentioned also, John, Larry Donald came into this fight with a man who he knocked out in the 4th round. Back early in both their careers. And that's got to be a bit of a benchmark as well.
Definitely. I don't understand. Larry will show the jab and work well with it, but he doesn't follow with the right hand behind it. Larry tried dropping it.
We're in the 5-point must system here. Hinton working the body in close. Comes right back at him, and he's laying all over Donald.
That's all Hinton should be doing, Arnie. He should just be going for the body.
Pressure on this guy, okay? Let's put the pressure on him now. These are the rounds that count. He's fading away there, fading away.
For those of you confused by the small numbers, we're on the 5-point must system here in Illinois. How do you see it unofficially at this point?
I've got Larry up by a couple of points, but really he's been unimpressive after those first initial rounds.
Good, right, baby?
And he's letting Will Hinton back into the fight. A guy that's not really at his class. And there you see Will Hinton just pounding away at Donald's midsection, bullying him around the ring. And Larry's got better skills than that. He's just not utilizing them.
And a very good round 6 as we see it from another angle. Hinton just pummeling him in round number 6. Where is the jab of Larry Donald? As we come out for round number 7, we're questioning. And here we see Larry Donald starting to dance for the first time. There's that old Larry Donald, the lateral motion, starting to pop that jab out there.
Well, he certainly had success with that early in the fight.
And earlier in his career.
But he abandoned it and really was standing right in front of Will Hinton. Now you're seeing that lateral movement, and just enough. You don't have to be running around the ring. Right there, give the guy an angle, but he didn't make Will Hinton pay there. That's where he missed. He really should have stepped in and tried to counter, but he was a little bit too far away.
And I have to write that off as a layoff.
Timing. That's right.
I don't know just how much he sparred for this fight. I don't know how much he figured this is a guy that I knocked out in 4 rounds once before. Now he's low in there by Hinton, and he's warned by referee Gino Rodriguez to keep it up.
Robert Middleman, the co-manager of Larry Donald, pleading with his fighter to stop this octopus. Hey, Middleman, we could use him as a color analyst. I might lose my job with those descriptions. Larry Donald doing a lot of posing and not enough fighting.
Well, one thing is clear. He came out dancing, sticking the jab, a lot of lateral motion for the first 45 seconds of the round. He can't do it at this point in the comeback, let's say, for 3 minutes a round.
Well, I'm going to say this right now. I don't think Larry Donald is in tip-top shape. And I think knowing he was going to fight a guy that he disposed of 3 years ago, or 2.5 years ago, he didn't really get himself in tip-top shape. I think he's playing Will Hinton cheap here. He's going to have to do much better if he wants to fight on national TV or later on a larger cable outfit.
Well, I know he's got a date on CBS, June 2nd. Only a month away. And he answered the right uppercut that was working so well for him earlier in the fight. And he's very prone to get hit with that, too.
Yeah, well, he just bends down low and charges straight in. Larry knew he was coming and let it go.
Times Hinton very well there.
Well, Larry got hit with a jab there.
Really no reason for him to get hit with a jab from a man of Hinton's size. And Hinton doesn't exactly have a fast jab. As we come around the 30-second mark of round number 7, this is scheduled for 10. That's Donald. He's in the white shorts. That's no knockdown. That's a slip.
You can see that knee brace that Will Hinton wears on his right knee. He's doesn't have the strongest of legs either.
Come to the end of round number 7. There's been no knockdowns thus far in the fight, and a much better round for Larry Donald as he gets caught low with a left near the end of the round.
just looking exhausted in his corner.
Watch Hinton as he comes in here, and Donald has a look of fear almost in his eyes. He got hit with something there. I don't know if their heads banged.
Yeah.
But he certainly wasn't happy at the end of the round. But nevertheless, a good 7th round for Larry Donald. And here's the man that Robert Middleman refers to as the octopus.
All arms,
and
arms
he gets
and
a
legs.
warning from referee Gino Rodriguez for that low blow. And Hinton has some words for referee Rodriguez. 8th round, and John, you've really got a question at this point. Chris Hinton, who got stopped the first time he fought Larry Donald in 4. Hinton's been stopped in 1 by Shannon Briggs, 7 by Jimmy Thunder, 4 by Zelko Marovic, and again previously 4 by Larry Donald.
Unless Larry Donald really blows it here, he's going to go home with a W, I think. But I tell you what, it's not going to be an impressive win. Not unless he does something in this last couple of rounds here to really show us that he can dispose of a guy that he should be able to dispose of. And he got hit with a right hand there.
He's hurt. Donald is hurt and holding on. Hinton came over the top with the right, followed by a left, and Larry Donald was hurt and holding on. Will Hinton, not known for his punching power. He's got 7 knockouts in his 15 wins. Still almost a full 2 minutes to go in round number 8. Hinton again, and
Donald has a low left hand, Arnie, and he got caught with it.
And Hinton really teeing off on him. Let me tell you, Donald is hurt. Larry Donald's never been stopped in his professional career.
Jenks Morton, his corner, looking very nervous right now. Eyes darting all over the ring. Steve Nelson, co-manager.
Biting his nails.
Yes.
And still more than a minute to go here in round number 8. And Donald trying to get some legs under him. Will Hinton, not known as a big finisher when he's got a guy hurt. Not his specialty.
There he tried to come over with that looping right hand.
Good uppercut in close by Hinton. Donald continues to hold on. Referee Gino Rodriguez letting the fighters fight on the inside. And now he breaks apart the man who will forever be the octopus.
Larry Donald will always have a tough time against guys who aggressively move to him and go to his body and try to rough him up. He's a finesse fighter. He wants to try and fight you from a distance. He doesn't want to have to fight in close with a guy who's very kind of a sloppy, wild puncher. He's going to have to learn to fight all styles, though. I mean, could you picture Tyson on top of Larry Donald with his fast hands?
Not tonight. And I don't think
Not tonight.
that his management wants to think about it either. We come to the 10-second mark in round number 8. Still no knockdowns thus far in the fight, but a very good round for Will Hinton. It's had Larry Donald backing up the entire round. God, as we take a look in the corner here, Tom Quinn with Will Hinton. Unofficially, I've got the fight 37-36 for Larry Donald. I've got it very close.
It's a very close fight. It's a point. I think Larry's a little bit ahead.
And we take a look at action from round number 8. And there's that good combination by Will Hinton that rocked Larry Donald.
And what's Larry Donald doing, backing straight up from punches? I mean, a very amateurish move. He should know better than that.
And I'm going to give Larry Donald the benefit as we take a look at the top here. Look at these still shots here. A lot of hugging throughout the round. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and just say it's his timing that's got him doing things. He used to back up and stick that jab out. Round number 9. And we're questioning the timing of Larry Donald there in round number 8. We're talking between rounds. Seems to be backpedaling, but throwing nothing on his way back, John.
I'll tell you, hit Hinton on the top of the head there. Kind of rocked Will. Why is, Larry, too many times in this fight has really waited to punch, almost like he wants to be a counter puncher in the fight. He's waiting, and maybe we can attribute, again, that to fatigue and the timing factor and trying to get his feet right back in the ring. Right now, Will Hinton's really dipping him in the leg good.
And I'm happy for us. I mean, I think this fight is interesting because Will Hinton's taking to it. But remember I asked you in the open, was this the right opponent for Larry Donald after 6 rounds in 18 months? And I think it's proving, maybe perhaps after this fight, in retrospect, they'll say, okay, good opponent because he woke Larry up to what he needed to do. Here's a guy with how far he's slipped in the year and a half.
So style-wise,
confidence building.
Yeah, style-wise, I mean, Hinton's presented problems for Larry tonight, and that is that awkward brawling style with the wild overhand rights and just enough body weight to keep Larry off balance. And Larry, of course, is hurting himself with his own lack of defense. Particularly there, you see the left hand just straight down his left leg. I mean, you can't afford to carry your left hand like that if you're a professional heavyweight. Tommy Hearns did it for so many years. He was able to get by with his great quickness. And Larry Donald is yet the Tommy Hearns class.
We've got a little bit more than a minute left in round number 9. And he just doesn't be able to, you would think though he'd be able to snap that jab. The one thing that he would have tonight would be the ability to double up on that jab and keep Will Hinton off of it. And he just, except for back in the 3rd round, it looked like in the 3rd round he was really getting sharp and getting the distance. As it turns out, that might have been the best he had to throw.
And Larry, as you can see, not really a body puncher by any means either. I mean, really, the only time he throws a punch to the body is when they're in a clinch and he kind of digs those little shots into the ribs, but he's not really a body puncher.
Hinton doing a little bit of headhunting right now, abandoning some of the things that have kept him in the fight, trying to come way over the top with that lunging right, and losing a lot of points in a close fight where if he took this round, he would be dead even with me. Right now, seems to be all Larry Donald here in round number 9. As he's up on his toes again for a brief moment and almost a big right hand.
He gets careless.
Tired Larry Donald didn't expect to be here going into round number 10 as we take a look at round number 9 and watch the kind of lunging, and that's that long overhand right. When I was talking about, he was headhunting throughout the round, and it was funny at the end of the round, a round that I thought was all Larry Donald's. We take a look at him staring down Will Hinton. Hinton went back to his corner and Tom Quinn saying, "You're round, baby." I didn't see it that way.
No, I think that was a Larry Donald's round.
Tenth and final round. There have been no knockdowns thus far. That's Larry Donald. He's in the white shorts with the black stripes. Will Hinton, he's in the white with blue. Unofficially, I've got it 42-40 for Larry Donald. But we didn't expect him here, John.
No, I didn't. I'm surprised. Larry's not known as a power puncher. Now you're seeing him really flick out that jab. He really has one of the best jabs in the heavyweight division, certainly. Very quick.
When it's on, as we saw it in the 3rd round for an entire round, he just totally stopped Will Hinton dead in his tracks. He just hasn't been able to do it at this point, round after round after round, or even 3 minutes for a whole round.
There has been questions about what kind of resolve Larry Donald has as a fighter. Does he really want to be heavyweight champion? He says he wants to be heavyweight champion, but he's got some work to do. He's young, but he's got work to do.
Hinton consistently getting in good body shots, which seem to stop Donald, and you have to wonder if somebody with a little bit more expertise on body punching, what he would be doing to Larry Donald right now.
And the other thing that you can't acquire overnight, or really I don't think at any time, is desire. You either have the desire to be a champion in the will or you don't. That's something that that I believe is innate. And right now there's question marks, I think, about Larry Donald in that regard.
Under a minute and a half to go in the fight. Will Hinton looking very tired right now. Those smiles in his corner. They may think they've got this fight won, John. I don't see it that way.
Larry also has another big event coming up a week from today. He's getting married.
I congratulate him, but also could be a minor distraction.
A left hook there by Larry Donald. I think maybe he was thinking about.
I know what the 2 weeks before my marriage was like, and I wouldn't be thinking about fighting 2 weeks before. That's an intense event by any standard, and not necessarily something you want so close to your first fight in 8 months.
James Morton wants a fast finish here from Donald,
and he's getting it. And then a nice short left. Right on the chin of Will Hinton.
I suspect this is the second.
Very tired.
I think this would be the second and last time you see Donald fight Will Hinton. I don't think he wants to get near this kid again.
He enjoyed it a lot more the first time. That's under 20 seconds to go in the fight. He's got Hinton hurt now. Hinton looking to hold on and wisely.
A left and a right hand stung him along the ropes.
Gino Rodriguez though separating the fighters, not letting them fight on the inside. But Hinton's going to survive the fight in the full 10 rounds. Very strong, in particular the last 60 seconds. Why did he feel he couldn't do that in the earlier rounds?
Well, you know, gas prices are up, and it looks like he wanted to save something in the tank, and he did for the end.
But I've got to think, watching this fight, which I unofficially had 47 to 44 for Larry Donald. Again, we're on the 5-point must system here in Illinois. I've got to believe that earlier in the fight, the same way he just hurt Will Hinton right now, that Larry Donald could have done that same thing, particularly after the third round, a round where he had Will Hinton backing up for the entire round, throwing that jab, throwing the right hand. Larry Donald seemed to tire a little bit, though, come rounds 4, 5, 6. Round number 8, a good round for Will Hinton, and then cruise to a good ending here in rounds number 9 and 10. But we take a look at action here near the close of the fight, where Larry Donald really started to open up. Good double uppercut, great left hook, and that's what really staggered Will Hinton and had him hanging on virtually for the rest of the fight. And we take a look at the very close, referee Gino Rodriguez trying to give some punching room to Larry Donald, and you could see almost going down there Will Hinton. Larry Donald really opening up, and it looked like, why would he be able to do it now? Something he might have done earlier. And again, I think rust, the big factor today, as we mentioned earlier, Larry Donald having fought only 6 rounds in the last 18 months, not having fought at all in the last 8. Here are the two fighters embracing. Remember, they had fought earlier. The first time they met way back in April of '93, excuse me, May of '93. Larry Donald stopped Will Hinton in 4 rounds, almost 3 years to the day. Tonight they go the full 10. 4th time Donald's been 10 or more. Hinton 3rd time. Unofficially, though, it looks like a 47-44 for Larry Donald. Let's see how the judges score it. And we're going to go up. And they're still accumulating the scores. As we take a look at Will Hinton, have to be happy with his performance today, but might have come up a little short. And up to our ring announcer, Dan Burich, with the official decision. Take it away, Dan.
We have the decision. Judge Gordy Volkman scores about 44-46 Hinton. Judge Gary Merritt scores at 46-44 Donald. Judge Dave Hess scores at 48-43. The winner by split decision. The legend continues, Larry Donald.
There you have it, Larry Donald, winner by a split decision. One judge had it 46-44 for Hinton. Another judge 46-44 for Donald, and a third judge 48-43 for Larry Donald. I had it 47-44 for Donald. Nevertheless, you got to question the tough choice of Will Hinton, and we're going to go up, and I'm sure John Saraceno's going to have some tough questions for Larry Donald. Take it away, John.
Okay, thank you, Arnie. I'm here with Larry Donald. Larry, a very close fight. I'm sure you didn't anticipate it being that close tonight.
No, I didn't. Will, you know, he came out with a strategy, and, you know, his strategy was to stay as low as possible. You know, basically I was trying to stay out of range somewhat because he was doing a lot of headbutting on the inside.
Now, you had a long layoff of over 9 months. Do you attribute your performance tonight to any of that? It looked like you ran out of gas there a little bit in the middle rounds.
Well, I wouldn't say I ran so much out of gas. I was just pacing myself more when I should have just went on here and stepped it up and got him on out there earlier.
So you were worried about going to full 10 rounds?
No, that wasn't even a problem. You know, I go 15, 20 rounds if necessary. But, you know, the long layoff, it played a big factor.
Well, your corner looked very concerned, particularly as the fight wore on. Do you think you're really ready to step up into the upper echelon of the heavyweight division, or do you think you still need some more time and get some more rounds under your belt?
Well, you know, I just need to continue to work hard, and I'm quite sure whenever we decide to step up to the higher level, I'll be in great condition for that.
What kind of condition you felt you were in tonight? I mean, did you train hard? It looked like you were a little bit soft. I mean, your weight was okay, but it didn't look like you really had the gas tank.
Well, you know, I had to get my weight down some. You know, I was working real hard to get my weight down. Now my weight down, and now I can work on my strength a little more.
Let me ask you this. You think you played Will Hinton cheap at all, in the sense that you'd already fought this guy once 3 years ago and you'd stopped him in 4 rounds? I mean, mentally, certainly that would be a thing that could go through a fighter's mind. Did it go through yours at all, getting ready for the fight?
Well, you know, Will Hinton, you know, I wasn't worrying about what happened in the last fight. I was just concentrating on the fight today at hand.
And also, Will obviously has an awkward brawling style. That definitely gave you some problems, didn't it?
Yes, it did. You know, I wasn't expecting for him to, you know, be down so low.
What was Jenks Morton telling you in the corner between rounds? Because he did not look happy during the rounds.
Well, he was basically telling me to step to the side, throw more combinations, throw the uppercut hook.
Let's bring Jenks Morton in right now. Of course, longtime trainer, doing a lot of fighters. Bone Crusher Smith, of course, the legendary Sugar Ray Leonard. Jenks, let's have your assessment of Larry's performance tonight after a long layoff.
I think it's a good performance after a long layoff. It did play a big part in the fight by him being off that long. You could see it. When I wanted him to pick it up, he wasn't able to just pick it up like he should have. He should have been able to get Will out of there about 5 or 6 rounds. But Will fought a courageous fight. Larry let him get bold on him, and he came back after him a little bit too strong. If Larry had been able to pick it up a little bit earlier, he should have got him out there. But this is a good stepping stone for Larry as far as him coming back now. He's been off, that's a long time. And I thought he did a fine job. And in the future, you see a better Larry Donald. He'll be much better because he'll get his strength back. He wasn't really as strong as I wanted him to be tonight, but he'll do fine in the future.
Now, tentatively, he's going to fight on CBS June 2nd. Do you have an opponent for that fight yet? Who are you guys looking at?
It doesn't matter. June 2nd shows a long time away compared to what we can do between there. So whoever it is, Larry do fine against him. Let him put him in there, pick him in there. Larry be ready for him.
Is Larry ready to fight the guys in the upper crust of the division right now?
Well, see, you can't judge it by Will Hinton. You can take Will Hinton with an awkward style like that. He could make anybody look bad. You know, it's hard to hit a guy like that. He's bending all over. You know, coming at you with an awkward stance. You're looking for him to come straight at you. Larry wasn't able to get his punches off like he should have. Really, Larry could have used a few more uppercuts, and I think we could have got him out there earlier.
Okay, and Jenks, at this point, when you go back to the gym now, which I assume is going to be immediately, what do you want to work on? Conditioning first?
I feel sorry for Larry Donald when we get back to the gym. We'll be back in the gym Monday morning.
I had a funny feeling you were going to say that, Jenks. I just want Larry to know what he was in store for.
Oh, yeah.
Larry, Obviously, you see what Jenks has in mind for you. Are you gonna be able to go in with a clear mind and ready to attack it the way you want to now?
Yes, I am. You know, I'm very unsatisfied with the performance that I done tonight. You know, I was expecting for me to be a lot stronger, but you know, the layoff I see, you know, played a big part in the fight.
Okay, thank you, Larry Donald. Let's go back to Arnie at ringside.
Thanks, John, and you know, interesting analysis from the different corner people there working with